Perfect. Okay. It says 4:30 on my end. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm Dale Quigley, and I really want to start off today kind of telling you a little bit about myself and kind of the plan for the upcoming year, or our year together as a group. I don't know how many of you were at midterm virtually. For some of you, a little bit of this may be a repeat, but I think it's kind of all worth talking about. One, thank you so much for coming. Training is so incredibly important to have a successful year. And so this is the start of it. As I say, I'll give you a little background on me and my thoughts going forward. And then Kathy will take over and teach you some incredible things that can be done on the computer, which will help you out and get you to move forward more easily. And then we will tie it up at the end. I truly do believe in starting meetings on time and ending on time. Everybody's time is important, and we certainly don't want to waste it. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I joined Rotary in 2007. I became president July 2010. I quit being president in January 2011, much to my club's, I don't want to say distress. I think it was mutual that I quit. Their idea of the president and my idea of the role of president was not the same. And on top of that, I really think the failure came because I had very little to no training. And my goal is to not have a single one of you even consider quitting in January. Okay, so my goal is to have you all have a very successful year and love what you have done. Fortunately, in February of 2011, I went to India, and I went to India for a national immunization trip. And I was with them as they, believe it or not, immunized 145 million children under the age of 5 in 3 days. And they do this every 6 months to rid the world of polio. It was amazing. But the more amazing thing was actually what the clubs over there were doing. The clubs over there were doing things like building hospitals to treat people with polio or the sequelae of polio. They were going into the slums and starting schools so that the kids were school ready at the age of 5. They were teaching women who'd moved in to Delhi from the rural areas. They were teaching them job skills because they had come to get jobs in Delhi only to find out they were unemployable. And that was what was amazing to me, was the big projects they were undertaking. And so I actually went back and spoke to a friend of mine, a fellow physician that I worked with who grew up in India. And I asked him how it was that these people had the courage to take on such large projects. And he told me that that feeling in India was new. But it was because they truly believed they could change their world, that they had the courage to stand up because they believed they could get it done. And I think that was the most amazing thing. And so one of my big things going forward is I think our district needs to dream, and dream big, and have the courage to go after it. And instead of worrying about the fear of failing, that instead we get excited about the possibility of succeeding. And so my one thing is for us to start to dream big and to start looking at issues in our communities that are large, that maybe can't be solved in a year, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't attack the problems. So that's number one. And now I'm going to tell you the exact opposite of what I hope for you. The best way to put this is the Rotary wheel. So the Rotary wheel, when it was started, it was meant to show action. That's why back in the early 1900s, when they picked something to signify or to be the logo for Rotary, it was a wheel, and oftentimes it was a wagon wheel. And then over time, I've come to see it as a wheel in action, kind of how the 4 pillars of Rotary move each other. So membership, if you do a project and you get visibility for it, then you have more people want to join the club. More people who join the club means you raise more money, you get more to the foundation, you get more in grant money, you do more projects, you get more visibility, and the whole thing turns itself. And then the last thing, or the newest way, or the way I want you to look at the wheel, is that you don't have to spin the wheel. As president this year, you don't have to pretend this is the Price is Right or the Wheel of Fortune and give it a big spin. What I want you to consider is moving the wheel one cog, okay? Moving your club forward so that your club becomes stronger and more resilient. I used to think, well, there are two ways I've thought about this. One is if I was going to build a house or buy a house, not just for me and my family right now for the next 10 years or 20 years, but what if I was going to build a house for my children's children or their children? Would I do it differently? Would I build out of wood or would I build it out of brick? How much strength would I put into it? Okay, maybe I'd build smaller, but it would be firm and it would be a good foundation. So I'm hoping that we look at your year in that regard. What can you do to spin the wheel one cog, to move it forward, to make it sustainable, so that the next president who comes in behind you has an easier job of it? And it doesn't have to be something big. You don't have to blow up your club. If you have a big club and you want to do 25 goals and you've got an active group and you're moving forward, great. But not all our clubs are that way. And so maybe instead of, in a sense, dreaming big for our year, as presidents, we need to think about moving the cog one step. How can you make the job better and easier and your club stronger and more resilient? So maybe so here's an interesting thing. When I became president of Hayward, and I will tell you, I came back and was president again for 2 years later on, and it was very successful. So just because I failed the first time doesn't mean, like I kept doing that. But when I did it the first time, I got to October and people said, so when are we doing that rose sale? Typically we do it at the end of October, but you haven't started it yet. And I was like we have a rose sale every October? And then they were like, we got that Christmas party. Have you gone ahead and, planned the Christmas party? And I was like we have an annual Christmas party? Nobody gave me a calendar. Nobody told me what occurred and when it should occur. So when I talk about doing something to make your club stronger, it can be as easy as making sure that you guys have an actual calendar of what occurs and when it occurs. Maybe it's setting up a speakers bureau so that when somebody says, we need some speakers, they have some place to go to look for speakers and they're not floundering. Okay, so as a group, or as a district, I want us to dream and dream big, okay, and take on the difficult issues. But as a president, I want you to feel like it's a successful year if you make your club stronger and more resilient by just making the wheel turn one more cog, okay? That I think is huge. So, two extremes, but both incredibly important. And now there are a few housekeeping issues to take care of. In terms of communication from me, for the rest of the year, you will hear from me monthly. And that will be about things like making sure you're signed up for NC Pets. What's happening next, what you might be thinking about, how you can get something done, great opportunities. But once a month, you'll hear from me, and that's it. When we hit July, I will be sending out an email once a week at the beginning of every week. And it will tell you what teams are meeting, what is new on the agenda, what's a cool activity that's happening in another club. Hopefully, or my plan is for all of those team messages that you currently get to come through one email once a week from me. Okay, so that you are not getting multiple emails that you need to be looking at. And hopefully it gives you all the information you need to pass on to your club members at your meeting. Okay, I will not tell you that you should ignore anything that comes from Rotary International, but if you seem to be getting weird emails from other teams, please let me know, because I want to cut down on the number of emails you're receiving. because some days it's kind of an absurdity. Okay, so that's my promise to you on how communication will work. NCPETS, if you've not signed up for it, please get registered. The 15th is the last day to get the early bird pricing at $150. After that, it's $200. Your clubs should be paying for that. You should not be paying for it. The first 2 days of the 23rd or the 24th and the 25th of February, that's a Thursday and Friday. And then it meets on the 29th of March and the 3rd of May. It's not the nuts and bolts of being a president. It's all about how to be a leader in a volunteer organization. Okay, this is not a managing job. This is a leadership job. And there's a big difference. And it's a big difference when they're volunteers that you need to motivate. So please go ahead and get signed up for that. If for some reason you cannot go to NCPETS, either somebody in your club needs to go or you need to talk to me so we can get something arranged. Okay, I would say it's easy. You can go to somebody else's pets someplace else in the country. Realize all of those are in person. There are no other virtual NCPETS out there at this point in time. Okay, but please get in touch with me if there is an issue with you going to NCPETS. Goals. Goals are a wonderful thing because goals give us a finish line. Goals tell us where we're aiming for. Goals tell us whether or not we actually accomplish something. Rotary International, when you go onto your goals, and Kathy will take you there today, there are 25 of them. Unless you're a club of 150, I think it's absurd to think that you're going to accomplish 25 goals. So all I ask is that you, for yourself, come up with a goal that you truly believe your club can attain. Okay, that doesn't mean you set the bar so low that you can you can do nothing all year and still obtain it. I just mean work towards obtaining one thing. Okay, whatever that is that your club wants to work on it. You can fill in numbers and ignore them if you want to for the rest, but please make sure that you pick one thing that you're going to work towards, because if you don't work towards something, you won't get anywhere. Okay, so that's the reason to have a goal, but do not go on there and feel totally overwhelmed. And then I guess my last part will be the Learning Center is fabulous. Kathy will take you there as well. There are some very good learning modules on there, particularly about things like how to deal with conflict in your club, DEI. When you go to President Basics, the first thing they have you do is download an 86-page manual. I downloaded it. I promptly threw it in the trash can, nothing personal. It's fabulous, but it's overwhelming. And if you read it and go like, I can never accomplish this. So, bypass it. It's a fabulous reference, but please do not look at it and think, I will never be successful at this job. Okay. Personally, it would not be my first thing to put on a President Basic training. Okay. I think, let me see. Just make sure I've done that. Okay. Oh, one last thing, and then I'll give it to Kathy. Here is the one last part. My view of district leadership is we are here to make you successful. That is our job. Our job is to help you out. It is not to tell you what you need to do. It's not to tell you what projects are good projects or bad projects. Our job is to support you in your role in your club. That's why we're there. That's why the membership team is there. That's why the foundation team, we are all happy to come to your club and help you out. That is also why we have assistant governors, and we will be relying on them to help your club. So please, if you are floundering, if you have questions, please come to us. Okay. I will feel like I have had a successful year at district governor if you all feel like you have had a successful year as president. That's how I'm judging my year. Okay. So if you all come to me and say that was so fabulous, and now we've got a president-elect and a president-elect nominee because everybody wants to do it because it's so much fun, then I've done my job. Okay. So I'm going to turn it over to Kathy, who knows so much more than I do. Thank you all so much for coming, and I'll be on.
Hi, we have one question for you already. Kim, do you want to? Give
Yeah,
us your
I'm sorry.
question.
I didn't know if it was a question time. So Dale, thank you for your motivating speech. So you were using an acronym when you were talking about the northcentralpets.org. So is that just basic training that we need to go through for the entire rest of the year? Is that what that is?
No, it's just 4 meeting days, and it's 4 districts, actually I think a 5th district now, coming together, and it's all training basically on leadership skills for being president. It doesn't go throughout the whole year. It's just those four meeting days.
All right. Well, that's a segue. So part of my job here today is to kind of help you go through the tools that you have available. And the first one I'm going to give you is the North Central Pets which means President-elect Training Seminar .org. So it's northcentralpets.org, and I did put that in the chat. And this is another great resource for you. And this is one we're referring to that you need to register. Right here in the top right, we'll give you the dates of the training and the registration button. Very easy to register. It is a cost. It's $150 if you register by Saturday. After that, it does go up to $200. Check what your clubs, many clubs, that's a reimbursable charge by the club. Okay. So I don't want to go too fast. So if I am, please jump in and stop me, ask questions as we go, because it's hard to see when we're on Zoom. So just feel free to jump in. The first website I want to go to is Rotary 5960.org. That's your district website. So if you are following along, you're welcome to go to that page. It'll bring up the home page of the website. This is our communication tool to you. You're going to find information, district information listed here. These are links. Many of these links you will have to log in using your Club Runner account or creating the Club Runner account to log in. You will have other information that's things going on in our district are listed here. You can follow the link. If you didn't get a chance to go to midterm, we do have the video up on midterm. You can go through and take a look at the video and what happened on Saturday. And upcoming events. If you have a question on what's going on in the district, things that are going that maybe you want to see what you can take part in, that's listed also on the district site. I do want to take you now to the top, to the resource tabs. First, I'm going to take you to the resources. You're going to find some links here. One of the links, it's one of the top questions I get every year, is on my club is having an event and I need a certificate of insurance. Where do I get that? You will get this email to you from Rotary International about the 1st of July. I then take that information and I put it up on our website so you have a quick link. This will walk you through on how to fill out that insurance. If you have any questions, you will find all that here under the drop down. The next section I want to take you to is one we have for you, for your team, and this is for the 2022-23 presidents. This is an informational tab. This tab is going to talk about upcoming training dates that you have. I have links here to that president manual. This is for your club president manual that Dale was talking about. Great manual. You can go through it, look, and use it as a reference. So there might be something you have a question on, and you can just go to that page. You can find a link to that manual here. Other references and resources that'll help you with your club. One of the questions I have to get back to today is someone has a question on bylaws and Rotary Constitution. You can find a copy of one here. Each of your clubs should also have these, and they're good to review, if not every year, every couple of years, just to make sure they're still up to date. The next section here are the tools from Rotary International. I did put the website next to the tools that are linked to. And I also emailed this to you, how to create your Rotary account. So you should have received that in your email if you have not created one. Other links here, one of the areas we're going to go to later is the Learning Center. I have a quick link for that. And the Brand Center. This is where we'll go visit that in a little bit too. This is where we find the logos, public image information. And I will put a link here once your theme is out and logos. I'll have a link to so you can go right here and download all the logos for the new Rotary year. Following that, we have our tools for our district. This is just to District 5960. I have a flyer on the 21-22 club finances. This will change once the 22-23 budget is set. And so the 22-23 club finances will be listed here. But this is going to be relatively within $1 or $2. So if you're trying to budget for your year, this is still a good piece of information. Club goals, just some general information. In Rotary, I don't know if you're aware of it, they have podcasts. So if you're like podcasts, you can go and listen to all things Rotary. They have lots. This has been on, I believe, over 1.5 years. So there's several. When you go to that link, you should find several different podcasts. If you want videos, they're listed here. And then District 5960's video tab is also on this page. So I'm going to stop sharing. Do we have any questions on the District 5960 page and website?
Somebody just asked, they already have a login because they're club secretary. Can they continue to use that account as president?
They're going to have every year, every July 1st, you have to re-enter your new officers and club officers for the next following Rotary year. So as of June 30th, none of them would be valid. So currently you can use it as the current club officer, but you are going to have to update that for the incoming club officers.
And you should be in already as president-elect, which allows
Correct.
you to get into various things already listed as president-elect. So you're probably currently listed as president-elect / secretary. And therefore, because based on your role determines what you have access to. And then that would be changed in July to you being president.
Correct. And if you don't have access, send me a note. Because that means Rotary International doesn't have you listed as an incoming officer at this point. And I can send a note to Rotary to have that updated. So I'm going to move on to the Rotary International. So if you could see the website here we're on is, you can go to rotary.org and get to here, or you can go to my.rotary.org and find a place. So I'm going to give everyone a moment just to try to catch up to me here. If you haven't registered, you can register now as we're moving on, or just watch. You should sign in to My Rotary. They log you out every time. So you're going to be signing in. A tip I have, if you're a Club Runner account, keep your Club Runner or My Rotary the same. That way you only have to remember one Rotary login and password. So, this is an extremely large database. So you're going to notice that it sometimes takes a while to get in and out of it. So we're up here is your tabs. And these are Rotarian. We're at the Rotarian section. So each tab is going to have drop downs. So the manage is going to go to the club and district administration. You'll see it's the community marketplace, brand center. They'll give you some information there. We'll go over some of the learning and reference information. And sometimes you just want to know about news. The magazine links, what about the incoming president, the theme, all of that would be under news and media. And then as club officer, you can get into the Rotary Foundation information, and this will tell you that information too. Right now, I'm going to go into the club administration tab. This tab is going to talk about your club invoice. Rotary International invoices the clubs twice a year, once in July and once in January. The new invoice will be coming out probably next week. District, we invoice once in July, and then I send prorated dues information out in December and in late spring, early summer. This is just Rotary International. So if you want to see your club invoice, you can view that here. If the one of the things, if you want to check your membership, who's in my club? Well, you can go to your member detail. You can download a member list. You can add, someone had the question about club officers. You can add and change your club officers from this tab. And then if you're looking for some information on a member, you can search their name. You can filter by role. You can filter by member status. There's a lot of options. Okay. So the next area I want to go to is Branch Center. I'm in Branch Center myself several times a week. This has just a great amount of information for you. You can get your logos. They talk about their logo. There are rules at Rotary International, how you can use the logo. So this is where you can get that information. Materials. When I have new members, I go through here and I use the promotional resources. There's a new member certificate. There's PowerPoint. There's Zoom backgrounds. So you could do a newsletter. If you don't use a digital one, you can create one here. A business card. There's just a great amount of information here. Ads. If you're doing something that's for your club and you need some ads for online or print, you can get copies of that here. And then images and videos, if you again need to find those. So do we have any questions on this section? Again, you're just going to have to jump in because I can only see a few of you at a time.
Somebody asked if you, let me see what I pull up on the chat. If you change a club member's status through the RI website, does that automatically update the club runner page?
No, but the other way does. So if you change the member in Club Runner and your Club Runner is linked to Rotary International, it will update the Rotary International page. It does not work the other way around. I know it's confusing. You can add a new member from Club Runner. You can delete members. You can change their information. And then if you're linked to Rotary International, it automatically updates. And it also informs the district because I'm linked to all the clubs in our district. So when you make those changes, I also know. So Club Runner clubs are, that's so helpful. Okay. All right. So the next area, area I want to kind of pop over to is the Learning Center. As club officers, you're going to build your cabinet. You're going to build your team. And you're going to get the question, well, what do I do as a club treasurer? Well, you can direct them to the Learning Center. And I sent you a list. And one of the PDFs that I sent yesterday had a list of all the current Learning Center classes that you can go to. So you can, I'm just going to take us here really quick. Okay. Sorry, I'm just going to take a minute. I'm just stopping Zoom so it catches. So I'm can I see any, do you recommend it? I'm just going to grab. So I'm just waiting for it to pop up here. So in the Learning Center, oh, yeah, logins this, but there was a question that just came up. There are two different logins. Rotary, the district page is different than Rotary International, two different websites. And the website I'm on right now is Rotary International, and this has the Learning Center. So the page I'm on now is the course catalog. And this is similar to what I gave you yesterday in your links. So as we're going to look at club leadership. Here are all the club courses you can take. And the nice thing about this, you could start it. You can say, okay, I got it. And you can exit out and do something else. And if you come back to it, it'll bring you back where you start, where you ended up. Rotary International also works with Toastmasters. We're a partnership with Toastmasters. So on the course list, you'll see some Toastmaster courses that are available for Rotarians. If you want to search for a club, you can add that. There's the categories. So again, try to make it as easy as possible for you to go through. For your club officers, they can come in here, your membership team, secretary, your treasurer, can all go through and take courses on Rotary International so they can understand how they can work with Rotary in your club to make it a best year for your club.
And just so you're not frustrated, if you go in and take a class and you've done it and you go back in later and it says that you never took it, it looks like you never took it, it's because that means they've updated it. So every so often they go in and they update each class that they have. And if they update it, it will all of a sudden look like you didn't do it. So just don't be alarmed. Don't go like, wait a minute, that's not fair. That's why. It's not that it kicked it out. It's just that they wipe the slate clean when they update something.
Okay. Well, the next area I want to bring you into is Rotary Club Central. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. So when you get into Rotary Club Central, I'm back at the main course here under Manage, Club Administration, Rotary Club Central. This is where you can find out history on your club. This is where you're going to find out You have questions on the trends in your club? This is listed here. Projects, your volunteerism, your annual fund, your goals. But to make this a useful tool, the clubs have to add the information. And so I went and preload it. Well, first of all, when you get to your club, look up here to make sure you're working on the right date, year. So you're going to want to enter goals for 22, 23. So when you go into that, you can hit here in the tab, kind of there, each one of these are tabs. You have members and engagement, Rotary, foundation giving, service, young leaders, public image, and all. I'm going to go to the all. If to change or enter your goal, you're going to click edit. If this edit is grayed out, you can't click it, it means you have not been entered as an incoming officer. And if that's the case, send me an email and we'll get that taken care of for you. So I'm hitting this edit because if I'm going to make a goal, I want to go in here and check my goals here. I want to check the history. So under club membership, if I click this highlighted area, it's going to give me the past 5 years of my club. And from there, I can kind of look at where the club has been achieved and determine what the goal would be. And the nice thing about this, it's a goal. It's something to aspire to achieve, but you can also change it. Let's say September comes and you review it and you see, you know, that might not be right. You can go in here and edit that. You could do the same going down to your service participations. This kind of goes through the history of what the club has done for service. New member. So you can see the trend. They all go through and give you a history. And as Dale mentioned, there's 25 of these. You do not have to enter a goal in each and every one. The ones we do want you to add a goal in are here, annual fund. Rotary International tracks this. This is not something we add, but we have to put our goal in. Polio Plus, if you can add a goal for Polio Plus. And again, you could go back your history. And the other goal is membership. If you can add those, at least those 3. And for instance, this club, Lakeville, put in 20 goals, but that does not mean they might not achieve all 20. This past year was 19. So far, they only have 9 in the 19, and they're only halfway done of the year. The other thing I'm going to show you here is the service activities. You can track your club's service activities. You can go in and put in where the club has done some service this year. The club, as I mentioned early on, that they volunteer as a club at Lakefront Music Fest as a team, which is kind of a fun thing to do if you're close to the Prior Lake area. It's a fun night, you're doing some good things and you get to see some great talent for free. And they give your club some money on top of it. So good stuff, Corey. So current projects completed. Let's say Strive. I know a lot of clubs work on Strive. Let's put that in as a project. This is a year-long project, starts in September, it'll end April 21st. So they'll update this as they go. Okay. Let's go to reports. On the left sidebar, you're going to see the reports tab. That's where I'm at right now. Here, there are 3 different tabs: members and engagement, Rotary Foundation giving, and service. You can go and pull reports on your club to get some history and trends. You can get some under Rotary Foundation giving. The club fundraising analysis is a good club report to look at. Because this gives you a trend for 5 years. Again, I'm going to have to, for this, the share. I'm just going to stop sharing for a minute and you'll see that it'll download here. All right, I'll share again. So this is a good report you can use for your board meetings. It kind of gives you a 5-year trend, but it gives you a lot of information. It gives you your goals, it gives you your annual fund contributions for 5 years, your per capita, it tells you about your membership. So it's a good tool to use to share with your board members. Again, your foundation team lead might pull it for you, or your secretary. You don't have to be the one that does this all the time. Do we have any questions on reports before?
I do think it's important to know that you can pull reports based on your role, which means you are privy to some reports as president that you are not privy to if you're just a general member, which is important to know. So some of this has people's, so like Paul Harris information and foundation giving per member, that only you can see or your foundation chair can see. That's not viewable by basic members, because that would be giving out information that is privy. So just realize that some information that you get is not meant to be shared with all the club members. Some of that is private, but as president, you're able to see it.
Okay, well, I guess the one last thing I want to offer, and I know, we got Mike, go ahead.
I was just going to answer what Bob Timmons put in the chat, where he stated that almost or most of this is predicated on the president's entering information. It doesn't have to be a president. Keep that in mind. Because when I heard all this, when I was president, I went, oh crap, why didn't they tell me this before I raised my hand and volunteered? So this is more or less the president's job to monitor it. It doesn't necessarily mean you are the only person entering it. I love the word delegate. So find somebody who loves to do tech, get them the permission to enter in that information and keep it up to date for you. Will make your job a lot easier.
And it doesn't take very long to do. Go ahead.
You know what? Thanks, Mike, for responding to my question. I thought I'd just turn on my audio. And then the second part of that comment question was, is some of the information in regard to these reports and these sort of historical data, is that also predicated on members being active in their own accounts in terms of their giving or et cetera, et cetera?
Not in terms of giving, that is monitored all by Rotary International. So anything that goes into the foundation, they monitor. They don't have to put that in.
But as a club officer, you need to set it as a goal, what the club's going to do. You don't have to set individual member goals. That's their own personal choice.
Yeah,
So
I'm sorry. I don't think I'm probably not being clear here, but part of it is I'm just absorbing and realizing the disconnect with, like, I'm aware of many of these tools, which are really cool, but I know there's, having been in the club for several years, this many people are uninformed about this by and by, depending on their level of interest or whatever too. But
Right.
it's more, my comment is more to like the veracity, accuracy of some of these historical databases if the stuff hasn't been fully entered year to year. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Oh, absolutely. That's in terms of the goals, in terms of whether or not they set goals accurately, in terms of things like service projects or that sort of thing. Yes, that is based on somebody entering it and that data being good data. In terms of what has actually been given to the foundation or has gone in through Polio Plus, that is good data because that's actually pulled from the Rotary Foundation. They give that, they put that information in based on what's given. So that is not dependent on your members, but you're right. In terms of how much service we've done, that is totally dependent. It's also dependent if you don't keep your membership data up to date. And you've been paying for members that actually haven't been in your club for a while, it'll look like you had more members in your club than you actually did.
And keep in
Thank
mind,
you.
Robert, that we're also with the COVID quandary going on right now, that so much has changed that, the old adage of we've always done it that way before is out the door. So keep in mind, whatever parameters have been set in the past are fairly irrelevant. I mean, you can kind of follow it, but how we do service projects now and the ones that we do, everything has made such a major change that those may not be relative facts or information that you need to rely on.
This is Jim Redfield here from Forest Lake. We have one of our Rotary members is actually our executive secretary, and we pay a small salary. And that's very good because takes care of all this good stuff. So the president doesn't have to directly enter it or,
Yeah, definitely some of the larger clubs have that as well. The St. Paul Club does that. Some clubs just aren't large enough to have that, but it is great when you've got somebody kind of a small paid position that takes care of this for you, but more feasible in a larger club than a smaller club.
Great. And the last thing I just want to say too for my part is that I'm available to work with anyone one-on-one. We could do a Zoom training. So we're just focusing right on your club, and I can help you walk through these goals and how to do it. Just email me. I'll be happy to do that with you. It takes about a half hour. And we can go through Club Runner too. If you're a Club Runner club and you have questions on what you can do in Club Runner, what reports, how that works with Rotary International, we can spend some time on that.
Dale, can I add one thing?
Sorry?
Can I add one thing? Little.
Sure.
Okay. Plug your ears, Dale. Just FYI, NC Pets, pets training is considered mandatory per our district bylaws. And it states that if you don't take pets training, your club is not recognized that you've done that, and the current president must repeat. That's the bylaw rule. But I'm just want to tell you that we've only got 4 days left, the end of the week, basically, to save the club $50 to register. So the sooner you do it, the better. If you don't, if you find in a short period of time you can't make it, you can always back out and the club can get reimbursed at a certain point. But pretty soon the reimbursement cutoff will happen, and you'll want to make certain that you have that availability.
I didn't really have to plug my ears for that.
I know, but you don't like to hear the bylaws.
No, the bylaws are fine, but the bottom line is we're here to help you. So I think training at NC Pets is fabulous. I think you will get a lot out of it. I don't believe in wasting people's time.
Ugh.
So it's certainly NC Pets is not simply to check a box. It's actually to learn some great information and to meet some wonderful people at the same time in terms of being able to network as you go forward. But it is very good training and not a waste of time. And I think it is set up in nice blocks. So enough time to get something accomplished and not so much time that that you've either wasted a day or felt like you cannot sit any longer. So they tend
And
to
if I
last
could
about 2
add
to 3
one,
hours.
can I add one commercial to the NC Pets?
Sure.
Okay, we're going to, I know a little bit about it because we're currently planning it, but guys, this is interactive. I don't know if you're at midterm, but this is interactive. And so such as all the general sessions are breakout rooms. So you will be working with only 10 people in clubs that are your size from the 5 different districts now. So it'll be a group that you have a lot in common with as far as size of membership and things like that. And it's how to run your meeting, how to lead Rotarians, how to run your club, how to plan your year. And I believe the other one is talking about the RI action plan. So there are some good nuts and bolts coming up, and also we'll have a couple optionals in March and May. So there's my 30-second commercial, but I think it's well worth your time because we're going to deal with how to be an effective Rotary Club president rather than just this nuts and bolts thing where you feel like you've drank out of a fire hose.
I'll just
Okay.
add my two.
What is
I'll
it,
just add-
James?
I'll just add my 2 cents on that. Way back when I was at Shakopee Rotary, and Shakopee Rotary in 5950, it's a mover and shaker Rotary Club, been around since '53. When I became president of that and I went to Pets, I couldn't believe it. When I became president, I felt like I'd been president for half a year because Pets did a fantastic job of preparing me for it. It's going to be interesting this year. Now I go from a club like Shakopee to a club like Siren. It's got 16 members, and it's hard to recruit new members. They do a good job. They've had some great fundraisers, but it's just a whole different program. But I am looking forward to taking the North Central Pets, and hopefully it will be very. For those of you who are coming in as presidents, never been before, it is definitely worth its while.
Cool. Thank you very much. Okay. We've got 7 minutes left and I said we'd be out of here hopefully at 5:30. So, Kathy, are you good? You have nothing else to add at this point in time?
Nothing else to add.
Okay.
If anyone has any questions, feel free to send me an email, and I'm going to resend all the handouts again.
I don't like that 10 to 20.
Okay. And so one last thing, a date that you all should put on your calendar.
It was from the west.
Oops, do we have somebody who's talking in the background?
Yeah.
Oops. Okay, here we go. So the installation party, the party of the century, or maybe the millennium, but the installation party is on June 25th. It's at the Commodore. It's actually a day-long event. So so it will start with artillery punch on my front porch in Summit Hill. That address will come out during the day. There is a very knowledgeable gentleman who is going to be doing walking tours all about F. Scott Fitzgerald as he grew up in this area. The actual party is at the Commodore. So it's kind of all based on F. Scott Fitzgerald, but F. Scott Fitzgerald and Zelda will be there. We have people coming to teach the dances of the era. There is a 3-piece jazz band, live jazz band coming for the evening. And then on top of it, there will be a community art project, which is fabulous. I did it once before up in Hayward when we had an art exhibit or program between the LCO reservation and the community of Hayward, and brought this gentleman in, and basically everybody paints on the canvas and he miraculously turns it into one cohesive painting that's 3 feet by 4 feet. And it's amazing and everybody signs the back of it. But it will be a wonderful party, fabulous time. I hope you all will come and celebrate the beginning of your year with me. But it will be opened to go ahead and register shortly, but there is a limited number based on how many people can fit into the Commodore. And if you've been going like, oh, but the Commodore isn't open, that's right. It's only open for private parties this year. So, and if you've got questions or concerns, please let me know, but it will be an amazing event. If you all have any questions, concerns, you're worried about something, please reach out to me. That's why I'm here, to help you all have a very successful year. I will see you all at NC Pets. And obviously, when I said Kathy knows everything, she is a wealth of knowledge. So please reach out to her as well, because she is incredibly knowledgeable about everything Rotary. So I think unless anybody has a last minute question, we are done for the evening.
Dale, you absolutely should have planned that your little inauguration differently. It's Muskie Fest weekend.
Forget Muskie Fest, come down. Anyway, it's going to be a great time, but we will have great events throughout the entire year. I do have a special present for all of my presidents that hopefully we will be sending out the end of February. So keep your eyes open for something coming in towards the end of February to your whatever address we have for you. So make sure your address is up to date. But a new special present for all the presidents. So there you have it. That should keep you happy and smiling and moving forward. Okay, I think that is it. Thank you all once again for showing up and spending an hour with Kathy and I and Mike this evening. And if I don't see you beforehand, I will see you on the 24th of February.
Thank you.